And we are live. This is Senate Finance. We're back out of a short break. And our final witness today is Mike Schultz. He's the Senior Vice President of Government Relations for Consolidated Communications. And this is on 181, the attachment tax, full attachment tax that we're being asked to consider. So Mr. Schultz, just introduce yourself for the record and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chairman. Good afternoon. My name is Mike Schultz. I am Senior Vice President of Government Relations for Consolidated Communications. Thank you, Chairman Cummings and distinguished members of the Subcommittee on Finance. On behalf of Consolidated, I am here today to offer the following comments regarding Senate Bill 181, an act relating to the Community Media Public Benefit Fund. Consolidated Communications is one of the largest internet service providers in the state. Consolidated is a top 10 provider nationally. Consolidated has expanded fiber optic broadband internet access service to more than 110,000 customers in Vermont in just 3 years under its Fidium Fiber brand. Consolidated is also a proud partner with Southern Vermont CUD. On their behalf, we finished a fiber build in 2 years. So now there's universal broadband service for all residents in Bennington County. In the meantime, Consolidated has also partnered with 2 other CUDs, Lamoille FiberNet and Otter Creek, to also provide universal broadband service over the next 24 months to their member towns. That said, I am here today to discuss Consolidated's thoughts regarding Senate Bill 181, an act relating to the Community Media Public Benefit Fund and the financial impact it would have on our company. Consolidated supports and recognizes the importance of PEG stations and the benefits they provide to local communities through their local programming of select board meetings, community events, and to provide emergency information to community members who may not be able to attend select board meetings in person. Consolidated does, however, have concerns regarding the proposed funding of the Community Media Public Benefit Fund through the poll attachment fees. Consolidated believes this places an undue hardship on Consolidated when in fact we are not a cable provider in the state, as we do not have any cable franchise agreements or even offer cable TV in Vermont. In fact, in Rule 8.401, it states general obligations of cable operators for purposes of franchise negotiations. A cable operator must demonstrate that its proposal for PEG access is consistent with these rules and reasonable in light of cable-related community needs, taking into consideration costs on the cable operator and cable subscribers. In order to meet community-related cable needs, cable operators shall be prepared to designate system capacity for use of PEG channels in applications, consider requests for PEG channels in other applications, designate an access management organization when requested, provide PEG facilities, and provide PEG funding, and then notify commission subscribers and department of the above. As written, under this bill as written, Consolidated, which has approximately 200,000 poll attachments in the state, at $15 per attachment would have to pay $3 million a year to support PEG stations that none of our broadband connections would have access to. This is not competitively neutral, and we would have to pay the lion's share without any benefit to our customers. I would say that under the Cable Television Rule 8.0, that cable providers are obligated through their cable franchise agreements to provide funding for PEG stations. Why would that change when it's already on the books and their customers are beneficiaries of the service? Also, today, streaming companies like YouTube TV, which is owned by Google, Hulu, Sling, DirecTV, Philo, Fubo TV, to name a few, are not carrying PEG stations, nor are they contributing to the program. PEG stations are a video transmission service, and this really should be a bill that assesses all video service providers in the state, whether it's linear-based or streaming-based, on a per customer per month basis, not broadband providers. Vermont taxes video providers today, so adding a statewide surcharge for this fund should not be problematic for them to implement. Thank you very much for your time and consideration today, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have or bring any supplemental information to future work sessions at your request.
Okay, any questions? Senator McCormick?
What do you pay now, like in user fees or right-of-way taxes? I mean, how many miles do you have and what do you pay for them?
I don't know that off the top of my head, and I can get that information. I just don't know it off the top of my head.
You pay attachment fees for the poles, right? You rent your,
We pay attachment fees for poles where we do not own the poles, which is most of Vermont. We pay attachment fees to Green Mountain Power. And then we also have poles that we are jointly owned or joint use poles with Vermont Electric Co-op. And then there are small municipality electric companies in which we may attach to their poles or have some jointly owned poles as well.
okay, so the fly in this ointment are this internet streaming services. So, and they're providing essentially the same service you are, only over the internet rather than over.
Well, we're not providing any video services at all. We're just providing internet connectivity. They are a video service provider using internet connections to provide video services to customers.
Okay, so they're the users of your service, and which is the same thing the CUDs are doing, is they're providing a service. But you see, in order to make it equal, we should probably tax everyone, which would be a much lower number for everyone.
True. But one thing to note, pole attachments have nothing to do with the service, and it's not a simple way to track. It's not competitively neutral. And the reason I say that is because if you're a provider that provides service via buried plant versus aerial, you're not going to pay anything into this fund. And then we also have pole attachments that do not have any broadband service on it, that just have voice service on it. And they're going to pay something that they probably shouldn't be paying for.
Well, I think the voice, anybody attached, I thought the voice was being picked up in this, but I could be corrected.
I'm sorry, is or is not? I didn't hear you completely.
Okay, I thought that we were picking up phone service, voice services.
Okay, I didn't read it that way, but if
Okay,
that's the case, I adjust my comment on that.
Okay, that was just the impression I had, so we'll double check that. Okay. Question, Senator Bray.
Yeah, thank you. So could you just go through again? I'm trying to keep, it's an uneven regulatory landscape. So what services are you provide? What services are attached? Does the state have a fee on? The names keep varying, but an attachment fee, a poll tax, service provider fee. How do you end up paying in, and who is left out that makes you feel like, well, it's an unfair as well as irregular regulatory landscape?
Okay, so I do not have a complete list of all the surcharge fees and taxes that we pay, and I'll have to get that. But I guess the question becomes, if this is going to be applied to all providers, we need to make sure that it's not just facilities based, but it's also wireless or satellite providers, because we're including voice and broadband in this. So from Consolidated's perspective, we provide voice, data, or broadband services to our customers. And it could be on a retail basis, it could be on a wholesale basis. Again, we're not in the video market in that regard. Where Comcast is providing voice, video, and data in the state of Vermont, or Charter, or any other cable company in that regard.
And your broadband, is it custom?
It's
commercial? Is it backhaul for people, or?
Well, it's DSL or it's fiber, which would be Fidium under our Fidium market brand. And so fiber to the home versus DSL, which is copper-based. Okay, so those are end user services. And then there are services that come from one of our central offices back to or to the cloud. So there's backhaul associated with that. We have point-to-point services, fiber services to wireless towers to haul their data back to their point of presence within the state that are what we would call wholesale. So that's underlying network payments for Verizon or AT&T or whomever to provide their wireless service to end users.
Yeah, thanks. I couldn't come up with wholesale and retail, so.
That's okay.
Okay, but I think one of the flies in this ointment is that we are very limited by the federal government on any kind of regulation of internet service. And VoIP clipped because I remember many times, the landline telephones and the voice over internet, we have much less regulatory ability. But we regulate you, so that's probably why you're being looked at.
Fair, that's fair.
And last time we tried to do anything with satellite, everybody with satellite got the runners that the legislature is trying to up your fee and you won't be able to watch Big Bird or whatever you want to watch. And it got a little hysterical, but they definitely knew how to play that one. So anyway, all right. I think this bill has a long way to go, and we're not going to rush it. I understand it's going to start in the other body, but we're going to do our due diligence and see where it goes. Okay, committee. Any questions, comments? You have a legal book? Is that relevant to us?
Well, it's the statute related to the fees that are intended to go to the transportation fund.
Oh, yes, the right-of-way poll fees are supposed to go to transportation.
I don't know if it's, we have time till this comes, but the bill comes over from the House. And maybe on the House side, they'll ask JFO to help summarize this regulatory and fee landscape. It seems
Yeah,
like
I think that's,
so piecemeal that
Yeah.
it's a little hard for me to keep track of how all these things interact.
I'm not sure if it's Ellen, I think maybe it's Maria Boyle that does that. So maybe we can check in with her and see, how all these regulations intersect and who does what to whom.
Yeah, we're all thinking the same thing in a way, like what's a fair and equitable way of funding? But it's tricky when there's different ways to speak to different entities that are traveling through the same space and we're allowed or disallowed certain kinds of ways to charge them.
40% of the cost of electricity is the transportation of the electricity to the recipient,
to the homes.
not the generation.
Okay, do we have any more questions for Mr. Schultz? If not, I'm gonna release you to try and get home in the snow, and I think committee, we're gonna adjourn now so that everybody can try and get home in the snow before it gets dark.
So, how are you feeling?